Yes, it's going down in Portland. And I'm not just talking about the rain. So Dame finally did what we knew he was going to do all along. Why are we here? How did we get here? You know, it's like being in a marriage, right? You've been together for about 5 years, 6 years, something along those lines. Somebody's unhappy. You had kids, and now you're like, hey, I don't want my kids to grow up with divorced parents. Or, oh no, I'm unhappy 8 years later and I'm pregnant. I can't leave now. This is Damian Lillard. I've been saying for the last 3 to 4 years that he should have asked out of Portland. He should have asked out when CJ got traded. And my thing is not even from the standpoint of, hey, you traded CJ, I gotta go. Or hey, like Portland just never put the necessary parts around him. So even when it was him and CJ, they were a small backcourt that got to the Western Conference Finals because of like injuries and things that other teams couldn't do. And then they got to that Western Conference Finals and promptly got swept. Even when Steph Curry was a little banged up. And if I remember correctly, KD didn't even play in that series. So, it was one of those things like, okay, where are we? Kevin Love has been dangled out here by Cleveland for years before he ended up in Miami this year, native Oregonian, and they never picked him up. You know, there was the time where the ninth all-time leading scorer in NBA history, Carmelo Anthony, was in Houston after being traded from OKC or leaving OKC, and then Houston pushed him out the league for a little bit. That was a low risk, high reward situation that Portland could have grabbed, a star, at least a name, and have the appearance of we're trying to do something. I look at all these teams around the league, right? Cleveland just went out and got Donovan Mitchell. I'm sure 2 years ago, if you would have asked Donovan Mitchell to give you the list of NBA teams he wanted to play for, Cleveland may not have cracked the top 8. But Cleveland went out and made that move. And Dame Lillard has, 3 or 4 years left on his contract. So Portland could have got rid of this problem. Now, granted, it worked out now for Portland because they ended up with Scoot Henderson. If they would have traded him prior to that, they probably wouldn't have, they wouldn't have someone like Scoot Henderson on their roster. So now we're getting into this thing of he wants to go to Miami. Shit, I want to be a millionaire. If Miami offers you a great deal, you take it. If they offer you Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, and some draft picks, nah, like there's probably better out there. If that's all you're getting offered, then I mean that is what it is. But there's probably better out there. And then it's like, oh, well, if he doesn't want to go to Miami, he wants to go to Brooklyn. Look, he was the first one doing this loyalty thing of I don't want to play on a super team. I don't want to take the easy way out. We respect that. I don't think anybody's banging on him too hard. I'm sure there's Portland fans that are upset right now, naturally and rightfully so, because he's their guy. But I don't think that there's a nationwide referendum on Damian Lillard and if he's fake, if he's a liar, if he misled anybody. I don't think that's a thing. I think that we live in a society where people don't know how to take criticism anymore. So if you hear 2 to 3 people say something, that equates to everybody. Grow up, Dame. Be a big boy. So, as we're looking at this, he said, I don't want to be on a team that is already there. Like, I want to have a chance to win. Oh, so like the team that just made the NBA finals. It's not like he said, hey, send me to Atlanta so I can play with DeJounte Murray or, so I can turn around the Atlanta Hawks, trade me for Trae Young or something like that. You're still trying to go to the team that gives you the best chance to win, which is okay. Just say that. Just flat out say, I'm 33 years old. I'm not getting any younger. The clock hasn't stopped ticking. I want a title. And people will say, oh, okay. But then what will happen is people will turn around and they'll be like, see, Dame, you're just like everybody else. And you know what, Dame? At your core, you are. You want to win. That's not a negative connotation. You're not jumping from team to team searching for rings. You stayed in Portland for 12 seasons. You have nothing else to prove. You're probably going to go down as the greatest Blazer in history, even though Bill Walton won the title and finals MVP, and even though Clyde Drexler took them to 2 finals. You know, a lot of people are still going to view you as the greatest trailblazer of all time. Why is that not good enough? You know, don't worry about the outside noise because people are going to talk regardless. Even if you do the things that people say they want you to do in the right way, there's still going to be criticism. So do you, but Portland doesn't owe you. Like in the next 2 years, me and Mr. Logical talked about this. There's a point where you're going to make 60 million in a season. So Portland doesn't owe you anything as far as this is where I'm going to send him. I'm going to make sure. Now they can do right by you and say, "Hey, Dame has been good to us. He's been loyal to us." And they can't get it ugly because they're not going to get free agents in the future. But guess what? They don't get free agents anyway.